So starting on a positive note, I am grateful for my roommate and for Kira, my other roommate. And man, so getting back to Hollywood stuff, because obviously for about a month we have strayed and there's what's happening here. Obviously throughout the country and world, we've got lots of people in quarantine, lots of people who can't leave their homes. I know it's more serious in certain other places. My buddy in South Texas was telling me that if people are caught driving, they're getting $1,000 fines. You know, the cops are taking their license plates, stuff like that. So that's the word of mouth I'm hearing. Whereas in LA, you've got the stay-at-home order, but unless you're gathering in a big group, cops generally aren't really going to bother you. Lots of people are out riding bikes, running, stuff like that. And we've seen quite a few people on the sidewalk, or rather from their balconies, who are like, you know, get off my lawn types. And that's sort of been different. But I think what we're experiencing right now is going to really create a lot of turnover in LA. A lot of people are going to leave because they're not going to know how to get past this. I actually know people already who have left, who have said, you know what, I'll come back when productions start back up. And I've talked to y'all about this before, that generally speaking, most people, when they leave LA, they're not coming back. You just start living your life somewhere else. You know, initially you're just making money, and then you get into a relationship, you fall into a groove in your job, you decide that it's nice to have security, and again, they just don't come back. So some people will, a lot of people won't. And in the meantime, we do have resources as actors. There's just not a lot filming. So union projects, anything related to SAG is not going. Like, no. But some shows who are maybe in their first season or trying to get pitches to happen, those are still kind of angling, chomping at the bit to make sure they still end up in production. And that gets kind of complicated because, you know, they're reaching out to people, they're trying to make sure stuff happens as soon as it can possibly happen. And, you know, if we're able to do things in like a month, then that's one thing. If it's not till summer, it's going to be a lot more complicated. We don't know what we don't know. In the meantime, casting has, I mean, the people who are doing any casting, yeah, they can do, you know, video auditions, stuff like that they've been doing for a little while. I've seen a few more things where people are saying, you know, send us your talent from home, whatever it is that people can do that's kind of impressive from home that they can video in this time in our social distancing. They're asking for it. So, I mean, people are trying to make sure there's content out there. But where it gets really iffy is that you've got non-union projects, really small projects, or people who just have really passionate backers who aren't taking things seriously maybe, or just think they can't wait, who are still trying to make content, and that's pretty complicated, and certainly is going to have a hard time getting any traction. I think those guys are going to get in a lot more trouble later on if they've been caught filming right now. People aren't going to have as much respect for them, in my opinion. The good things for people like me right now is that casting is still an option. There are casting people who are sort of taking things for catalog, sort of, you know, just for later. A lot of acting coaches are doing their classes via Zoom. There's a lot of actor challenges happening right now, so maybe it's like, oh, do this one-liner, because realistically, if you don't have a name, that's what you're going out for initially. You're going out for the one-line thing that maybe you get seen, maybe you don't. This is, I mean, truthfully, it's kind of a game I end up playing with friends of mine. We'll watch things and go, oh man, that guy auditioned. Because it sounds jerk, but like it's mostly us feeling bad for them because we understand that you had to go audition for this thing. Maybe you had to go audition and call back and get back on things to get this position where you were going to say this line or a handful of lines, and obviously it gets cut down. You're not the main person. You know what happens? They focus on the main person instead of you. So even though you went in and you got that line or several lines, they cut back to the main person because that's who the money is spent on. So that's something, if you know to look for, you end up kind of watching for. I don't know. It's my Thursday. Friday is my Thursday at my night job that I am working. So I suppose on my weekend, among the very strange things I'm sure I'll do, which will probably involve both makeup and food experiments, probably not together, but who knows, maybe together. Aside from those, I will probably go ahead and do some, I'll look at some of the actor challenges so I can show you guys something. And additionally, there's also showcases. There are still showcases and workshops to be done via Zoom. So even though those are still kind of tricky, everything is so, like, you have to just keep working at things forever. Because on the one hand, I'll be able to submit to certain showcases where I just have to send in my headshot or headshot and a video audition, something like that. If I were able to, I might be able to do a certain workshop via Zoom. But one of the things that happens is that networks have these things to discover new talent. What they really mean is people who haven't been in anything else that's big. They don't mean people who are actually brand new. I'm sure there are exceptions. But most of the time, when you're introduced to new talent, whether it's on movies or television, anything like that, that person's probably been at it for a decade. So, that being said, I have to keep whittling away at all of that, make sure I'm somebody who's around, who's submitting, who is doing solid work, and who is getting footage. So, for me, right now, I have some writing to do. So I appreciate y'all. Let me know if you have any questions, what you want me to touch on next. And farewell.